Hello everyone, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our quick hands-on review of the AOMAIS X. This is the same company that has produced quite a few popular Bluetooth speakers over the past few months, whether it's the AOMAIS Go, that was kind of a boombox style speaker, and other floating waterproof versions, but this is one of their headsets, and it retails for under $20, which is pretty low cost. The design is very much derived from the LG Tone, so if you guys remember those Bluetooth headsets from a few years back, and this version is also a bit more low cost. Otherwise, it simply uses Bluetooth to wirelessly connect to a phone, tablet, or a computer, and the battery life is rated at roughly 6.5 hours to 7 hours depending on the playback volume, and inside we have just the headsets itself. We have some spare silicone tips to get a more comfortable fit. We have a quick instruction manual, and that's it, aside from a micro USB cable which you can use to charge the built-in battery. It takes about an hour and a half to fully recharge. So taking a look at the design of these earbuds, there are a few things which are different compared to some past Bluetooth neckband style headsets that we've seen before. The first being that the band here is completely soft. So unlike the LG Tone and some of the other low-cost, more generic models on the market, which are made out of plastic and they're rigid, this one is completely flexible, which means it's more lightweight, it's harder to break, and it's more comfortable when you're wearing them for extended periods of time. The downside is there's probably going to be a bit more of tangling, just because everything is basically as thin as a wire. Another thing that is kind of interesting is the earbuds themselves are both magnetic, so they attach together like a necklace, so that you can wear it more comfortably when you're not listening to music, and B, they have a pretty prominent wing on the outside. I actually really like wings on most Bluetooth earbuds just because they prevent them from falling out quite as easily, so you can be jogging, moving around a bit more outside, and they will still stay snug as opposed to being a flat tip or something like that. There are no other keys because you basically use the inline remote for everything. If you want to power it on, you tap on the middle key for a few seconds longer until you see it flash red and blue, and that means it's activated into the pairing mode. And what's really cool, as you can see here, is that the AOMAIS logo as well as the LED lights here are actually pretty bright, so the entire thing lights up in the dark, which is actually a pretty interesting effect. A lot of other cheaper Bluetooth headsets may have only this small light and not the entire panel light up. Just a very small aesthetic detail, but I think that they did a pretty nice job there. Moving into sound quality performance, I was actually very impressed with the mids and highs here, just because they are extremely clean sounding. It's quite common in Bluetooth earphones to have a bit of static in the background because it's never going to be as crisp as a wired 3.5mm connection. But this is actually almost as good, and even if you play and pause the track repeatedly, there's no clipping of sound, there's no static, there's no hissing, so that was actually quite surprising for me, so I think AOMAIS actually did a very good job there. With that being said, there's definitely not a lot of bass, which is kind of expected on small earbuds, but if you're expecting a lot of punch in the lower frequencies, this is definitely not going to be it. But for, mids and highs, listening to, some quick pop tracks, listening to the radio, also for watching YouTube, streaming videos, all of those things works really well. Also because there's no latency lag in my testing, so it keeps up with the action sequence of the video mapped to the audio without any delays. I also noticed that when you're paired to your smartphone, there is an indicator that tells you the battery life remaining on the Bluetooth headset, which is actually quite useful. The microphone also did a pretty good job of picking up my voice because it was pretty close to my mouth, so if you are talking outside, it actually still sounds quite natural, which is definitely good to hear. So that's the AOMAIS X. It's a concept and a style that we've seen many times already, so I wasn't really too excited going in, but I was actually quite impressed coming out just because there's a lot of attention to detail, like the backlight here, the fact that it's extremely lightweight compared to a regular Bluetooth headset because all the battery and parts are integrated into the earpiece, and also with true wireless earbuds, the downside is the battery life is a lot shorter at around 3 hours versus this, which will last you double the time before you need to recharge it. And it achieves this by putting the battery onto the neckband, so you can wear it for longer without noticing stress and strain, just because the tips themselves are basically just a driver and it remains very lightweight. I also like the extra rubber wing, making them secure even when moving around outside. Potential downsides would be the fact that it doesn't have a lot of bass. It also isn't waterproof, even though it is sweatproof. You can tell because the micro USB port here isn't covered up. With that being said, for the price, I think this is definitely one of the more compelling neckband style Bluetooth headsets on the market. It's very light, it's affordable, and offers pretty good sound quality. Check out more details in the links below, but this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.